Today I'm going to show you how to make these super soft, fluffy, and aromatic cinnamon raisin buns that are loaded with raisins and cinnamon and may very well cause your neighbors to come banging down on your door asking you for the recipe. Now before we begin, I recommend that you lock your doors.
Hey, open up!
To get started, we're going to add 20 grams of bread flour combined with 100 milliliters of water onto a small pot to make our Tangzhong. Tangzhong is basically a roux that helps improve the texture of our bread, making it more airy and soft. We're going to stir this mixture over a stovetop on low heat, constantly stirring it to prevent it from clumping up until it turns into a thick, viscous-like substance. Once we've reached the desired consistency that we want, remove the Tangzhong from the stove and transfer it to a small bowl or dish, then cover it with plastic wrap. Place it in the fridge for at least 30 minutes to let it cool down. Next, we're going to add 335 grams of bread flour onto a large mixing bowl, 40 grams of white sugar, 6 grams of table salt, 5 grams of instant yeast, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon powder, 6 grams of milk powder, and 1 egg at room temperature. And our Tangzhong from earlier. Pop this bad boy onto a stand mixer. Give it a quick few whisks, then slowly add in 125 milliliters of lukewarm milk. Continue mixing the dough for another 3 to 4 minutes and then add in 35 grams of room temperature butter. I repeat, room temperature. Do not use cold or melted butter. We're going to continue mixing this for another 9 to 10 minutes until the dough becomes nice and smooth. Now, if you don't own a stand mixer, you're probably wondering whether or not you can knead the dough by hand instead. And the answer is no! Well, technically you can, but it's going to be a real pain in the Once we're done kneading the dough, we're going to transfer it to a large greased bowl, shape it roughly into a round ball, and then cover it with plastic wrap and then let it rest in a warm place until it doubles in size. About an hour, give or take. Now while our dough is proofing, let's get our raisins ready. In a small bowl, soak about 100 grams of raisins in hot water, but not boiling hot water though. We're not trying to cook the raisins here. Let it soak in the water for about 15 minutes. This will help rehydrate the raisins and make them nice and plump. After 15 minutes, drain the water and let the raisins dry off before using. Now back to our dough. After the dough is done proofing, we're going to degas it by punching down on it. Next, we're going to flour our working surface and transfer our dough over. Add a little bit of flour to the dough and then flatten the dough with your hands. Using a rolling pin, roll out the dough until it somewhat resembles a rectangle. Hey, it doesn't need to be perfect, okay? Now we're going to add in our raisins onto the dough, but don't add everything all in at once. We're going to slowly add in our raisins in stages. Add a bit of raisins to the dough, then roll it out into a roll and try to shape it into a ball. Now add some more raisins to the dough, and once again, continue shaping it into a ball. Repeat this process until you've added in all the raisins. This will allow the raisins to be spread out all over the dough, rather than just being in the middle. Now we're going to weigh the dough and then divide it into 12 pieces. Then we're going to weigh out each piece of the dough to make sure that we get equal portion sizes. Afterwards, we're going to shape each piece of the dough into a ball. Apply a little flour to the dough, then slide the ends of the dough in a downwards motion towards the center like this. Continue this motion until the dough starts to resemble a ball, then pinch the end of the dough to seal it. Now roll the dough in a circular motion using the palm of your hand until it forms a nice round ball. Repeat the process for all the pieces. Once you're done, place the pieces of dough onto a baking tray lined with parchment paper about an inch apart. Cover it with plastic wrap and let it rise one final time for about 45 minutes in a warm place. After the dough is done proofing, we're going to apply an egg wash to the dough, which is just 1 egg combined with a splash of milk. We're going to bake this at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 18 to 20 minutes, depending on your oven. Now would you look at that? This bread is super soft, fragrant, and loaded with raisins. although you might want to cut back on the raisins. I went a little overboard with it. This recipe is super simple to make and perfect for beginners. Now if you enjoyed this recipe, then I also have another great recipe right here that I think you'll also enjoy. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.